So one thing that I did notice about your AHARS, which is the attitude heading reference, is it is off a little bit. It may need to be calibrated. That's something that you're going to have to read the manual on.
Okay. And what were you noticing that was off?
Okay, so look at the horizon. Doesn't it look like it's a little bit off to the side? That could be two things. Either the mount, wherever the AHARS is actually off slightly, or a calibration issue.
Okay.
Right, so anyway, back to where we were. One of the first things that you want to do after you start the engine up is make sure that you have oil pressure. If the oil pressure does not come up in, 30 seconds, shut the engine off.
Okay.
There's no reason why it would.
And just so it's in the green, right?
Yeah, just so that you have oil pressure.
Right. Okay.
For one. Okay. The oil temperature obviously is going to be low. It will be yellow, and that's in what, C? 50 C is the minimum for us to do our mag check.
Okay.
We're starting to roll. So first thing that I always do is I check the brakes to make sure that they work. You don't want to find out that they don't work when we get down to the end of the taxiway here.
Right.
All right. We have the AWAS programmed in on the standby frequency. This little up arrow.
Okay, before you go further, how did you check the brakes?
This is it.
You just squeezed
Just
that
squeeze,
back.
yep.
Okay.
And this has a parking brake,
and
that's that flipping that little pawl over.
Okay.
We don't want to take it off by flipping this little pawl because you'll end up wearing these little teeth out.
All right.
This is just aluminum.
You just let it flip off as you pull it back?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so I want to just move up a little bit.
See somebody in your rearview mirror?
No, in case she wants to get out of her hangar. We're kind of blocking the door. Now, it looks like we are calm today, but let's check the weather just to make sure. So, the radio, okay, that's our AWAS frequency on the standby.
Right.
The up arrow, the down arrow, it's a flip-flop, so it'll just change position. We can only change the bottom number. We can't change the top number.
0, 0. Noise abatement procedures in effect. Enter downwind at 1,200 feet at the water tower 2 miles south of the airport for landing on runway 29. Rotorcraft use right traffic for runway 29. At all other times, all traffic is left traffic.
Okay, and that just loops.
Right.
What I wanted to get was the barometric pressure.
Did they say it was 30.18?
30.15. So for us, I know that this Earth is 20 feet above sea level here.
It's a good thing.
It's not, that's not going to change. So no matter what your barometric pressure says on these instruments, 20 feet's probably going to be good. That's the first tick mark.
Okay.
Now here on this one, you can change it by both. If we put in on 5, it gives us minus 50 feet. I did notice yesterday that that was off slightly. Something to keep in mind unless you can get into the setup and adjust that. So we're going to use 1-1 today. These, the brakes, you don't want to ride on this aircraft. So the best way to, slow it down is squeeze the brakes, let it slow down some, let them go. It idles a little on the fast side. Typically, I like to have these idle about 1,600, 1,700 years is idling. At best I can get it to about 1,850 or so. Okay, this double dash line, it's kind of like a stop sign. It's called the hold short line. Here we want to stop, take a look, make sure there's nobody out there. I haven't heard anybody on the radio. I don't see anybody, but that doesn't mean that there's not an airplane there, because this is a non-towered airport. You don't need to use a radio, although it would be unwise. Bay Bridge traffic. Gray gyro crossing runway 11 Bay Bridge. And I want to look at the opposite way. This is an airport that has a lot of student pilots. Student pilots have been known to make mistakes. So you want to look at the other 11, exactly 180 degrees of it being right.
Want me to have my feet on the pedals or not?
Not yet.
Okay.
You don't get the taxi or take off yet.
Yeah, I didn't know if you want me to feel what you were doing or not.
Well, the thing here is that you push left, you go left. Mm-hmm. I know it's not a hard concept, but people do get that mixed up somehow.
But you know what this is here?
That caution?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and push that. You can see what it says. It's about your battery.
Need compass calculation and battery test
Yep.
needed.
Yep.
Okay.
So that, yeah, compass calibrated. So kind of like my suspicion that your AHRS has probably been offline too long.
Mm-hmm.
When I flew it yesterday, I didn't see any discrepancies that would kind of constitute a no-go. You know, it is off slightly, but not to the point where I think it would be dangerous. I mean, we're talking about what, less than 5 degrees.
Right.
But it's something that would be annoying in the long run for me, so we need to, address that.
Okay.
Like I said, we were looking for proper oil temperature, which we have on the screen there. I'm going to hold the brakes now. I'm not going to use the parking brake, but I'm going to hold the brakes, and we're going to go to 4,000 RPMs. And you know what I want to do? I want to move that. Okay. That suits me a little bit better. I can see that. All right.
So you know, even though I'm red, green, colorblind, I can tell that these are red and that's green, it's yellow.
Very good. Okay, so I'm going to 4,000 RPMs.
Okay.
And we're going to do a mag check. So mag 1 off. It drops a little bit.
Yep.
Turn it back on. Mag 2 off. Drops a little bit. Okay. Now the, depending on what your POH says, it may be 300. I believe Rotax has stated that 500 is the maximum drop.
Okay. I didn't see the drop. I was listening to the engine.
Yep. And it runs really rough when it's a no-go.
Okay.
All right, so I don't see any reason why we're not going to fly. All of our instruments are set. I like to set up a sweep, generally, you know, just kind of come across, down, make sure we're good. Everything looks good to me. I haven't heard anybody. I don't see anybody. I don't see any reason why we can't go fly.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So closing the doors. Vents are open. Come up to the hold shore. Look down there. Good. One last check. Bay Bridge traffic, gray gyro. Departing runway 11 and departure out to the east, Bay Bridge. So I'm going to go through this fairly slow, and you're going to see this a lot before you actually get to do it. So I'm lined up, pedals are reasonably straight. I like to have the stick over to the side, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hand, I'm going to reach up here and turn it into flight mode. Okay. Reapply the brakes, 2,000 RPMs on the engine. I'm going to press the pre-rotator button. That's the button that's on the side. Hooks up, and as it does, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of throttle to keep the engine right around 2,000 or so. You're going to hear it synchronize. You're also going to see the rotor RPM come up to about 100, 120 or so. Then I'm going to bring the stick to the center. I'm going to slowly add throttle. What I'm looking for is about 200 RPMs on the engine. I'm sorry, on the rotor. All right, there's our 200. So I'm going to count. 1, I'm going to release the pre-rotator. 2, I'm going to bring the stick all the way to the back. 3, I'm going to release the wheel brakes. 4, I'm going to come up to an initial power setting. And we're going to call that about 45, 4,600 RPMs.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for rotor RPM to build.
Just let it do its...
Yep. So the nose wheel's off the ground. I'm balanced. Add the rest of the power, keeping us in that position.
So you're full throttle.
Yep, full throttle.
Little left.
Little left stick as we get light.
Yep.
Looking for some airspeed now, about 55. There we are. Now I'll start to climb. As I'm climbing, I'm adding trim for the stick. Okay. So that we're releasing that pressure. So if I let this stick go, see, it bounces around a little bit. This rotor system is actually balanced pretty well, and the vibrations in the stick are the feedback that you're getting on what that rotor system is doing. Now that we've got a couple hundred feet, I'm going to reduce power slightly to take it out of the turbo. Just enough to come out of turbo. You can hear the engine kind of just change its tune, so to speak.
Bay Bridge, green gyro radio check.
Loud and clear.
Thank you.
And I'm going to reduce power. They said that the ceiling was 2,000 feet, or the scattered. This looks a lot lower to me, but
it looks lower to me too. It's a different world up here. You look down and it's a different world than down on the ground.
So once we get, this area is called the Narrows, obviously because the water is very narrow. It's what makes this an island. This is the eastern bridge to the island. Once we get on the other side, I expect our ceiling to be a little bit higher. It's really only low right here by the water.
Yeah. So still with the low ceiling, visibility is good.
Yes, but we don't want to fly in clouds.
Nope.
We want to stay beneath even these little scattered clouds until we get over to the other side, and then we should be okay.
Well, when I was a kid, actually up until about I was 40-ish, anytime I get into a moving vehicle, I'd get seriously motion sickness.
How are you doing now?
And one day it just stopped. So like when I had to wear glasses, one day I didn't, and the next day I did. Same thing with motion sickness. When I was hang gliding in Hawaii, it was a tandem, and I was getting motion sick almost to the point of nausea or throwing up. I was nauseous. And then he said, "Do you want to fly?" I said, "Yes." As soon as I got control, that all went away. So I can drive up and down and curvy roads, but if I'm a passenger, well, back then I would be really sick.
Yeah, I had a flight instructor that was that way. He couldn't ride in the back.
So one day it just went away. I don't know why. I was very grateful that it did.
Okay, so yeah, like I suspected, it's clear on this side.
I noticed that all the preliminary lights are off up here.
Yes. Now, if you look at them directly, you might see a little bit of a glow or a little tiny bit of a flash, and that's just, they tell me part of solid-state electronics, that there's always some sort of residual, but not really, something to be concerned about. If it goes on and stays on, yeah, it's something we should look at.
Bridge, green gyro, 214 Alpha Golf, departing runway 11 left pattern, staying in pattern Bay Bridge.
That's the green gyro that you were flying yesterday?
No, that's a open. It's an FTO.
So all the circuit breakers are in. We got avionics on, pump 2 on, lights off, nav off, strobe on, panel off. Everything else is empty. I'll need to work on getting that level for the horizon.
Yeah, the first thing I would do is find the unit, the sensor itself, and to make sure that it is attached.
Okay.
I didn't build this, so I don't know, exactly. It was factory built. They could have accidentally moved it on the inspection. Typically, they're not movable, but without me putting my eyes on it, I won't guarantee that it wasn't Velcroed in, but
right.
I would seriously doubt that it is, but you want to cover all the bases.
Can I have Hannah or Gabe look at that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Gabe will be back Monday, and he should be able to kind of source that.
Okay.
It may just be, like I said, a calibration issue.
Still don't see any traffic.
No, and we're probably not going to because of the fairly low ceiling here.
Great, green gyro, turn left downwind, 11 at Bay Bridge.
Now, the scattered clouds do not denote a ceiling.
Right.
Broken clouds, yes, that's a ceiling, but the scattered is not. But we do want, we don't want to fly into them at all.
that's one of the questions on the written.
Yes, it is. And this is kind of our practice area out here. This is the outlet mall. Straight ahead there with the little water tower. Plenty of fields here for emergency use if that did happen.
So if I had my druthers, I'd go here because this looks deeper.
Yeah, that's
here.
corn.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an unplanted field.
Yeah.
One of the things that you do have to watch are wires. So you can't see the wires from the air,
right?
But you can see the poles.
Bay Bridge, Green Gyro, left base, 1-1, stop and go. Bay Bridge.
The best spot here is the golf course because the fairways and greens are obviously clear. They generally don't have wires on them. And if we're lucky, there's a cart with refreshments that is close by.
Yes. I don't see anything here on the dynon for obstacles.
Bridge, Green Gyro, turning short final, 1-1, stop and go.
Miles west of the field over the practice area.
All right, so you're kind of familiar with this. And tell me, from reading all this, tell me how high we are.
Oh, okay, so we're at 570-ish. We're doing about, well, I'm reading this over here.
Yep.
So looks like it's indicating that we're going down slightly. But anyway, so we're about 560 right now. We're about 55 knots. We're headed pretty almost due north. Everything T's and P's are in the green, so that looks good.
Okay. All right, so for your first lesson, it's going to be straight and level.
Right.
Hand on the stick.
Hand on the stick.
Yep. And what I want you to do is I want you to pretend that this handle is a ripe banana. Right. I've heard. Squeeze it to death.
Yeah, I've heard this on the Gyropedia. That's good.
Yeah, very good.
I thought that's a great way to remember that.
So if you can fly this with your fingertips,
Gyro, turn left downwind, 1-1 at Bay Bridge.
Fly this with your fingertips, you'll be better off because you will be getting that feedback off of the rotor system.
Okay.
All right. So for flying straight and level, let's pick out something. And we just want to fly here in this area around these fields.
Okay.
Something off in the distance, and we're going to fly straight to it. Now you've been going down just slightly.
And so I've got my feet on the pedals now.
Put your feet on the pedals. Okay, so the...
And now I'm going to adjust.
Enter 412. Left turn out, 7.
So what are you finding? If the string is to the left,
push to the right.
Yes, you need a little bit of right. So one way that I kind of look at it, since we've got that little triangle, that's an arrow.
Bay Bridge, Green Gyro, left base, 1-1, stop and go, Bay Bridge.
And the feather portion of the arrow is the end that's moving. It will point to what foot you need to put a little bit of pressure on. Here's one of the very important...
Green Gyro, short final, 1-1, stop and go.
One of the very important lessons is the stick controls your airspeed. Power controls your altitude. Bring a little bit of back pressure.
Okay.
All right, and you'll notice that, hey, are we going up? Oh, slightly, but look at our airspeed. Is starting to decay. And there's a point where it stops going up and it just gets slower. Same way if you put a little bit of forward pressure, it's going to speed up.
Right. Which is a good thing. That's why we have the auto rotor, and if the engine shuts off, we just get the speed and the angle, and we're good.
I'm going to add a couple more RPMs here.
Okay, adding RPMs. There's a second piece of strip on the tail. Is that supposed to be any kind of indication where you want to keep the...
No, that was probably actually some leftover adhesive from taping it down from it being on a trailer. We will generally put a little sharp mark
gyro, turn left downwind 11, Bay Bridge.
On the center line. That'll give you a little bit better idea. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of rudder in so that you can see what it does and see what it feels like. Does that seat of the pants kind of feel odd to you?
No, that's very cool. You're just almost kind of pivoting.
Yep. But I mean, did it feel like? I mean, you know.
I could feel that. Well, I don't know what you're specifically looking for, but it felt like it was controlled.
Yeah. Okay, what I want you to do is make a left turn, and we're going to kind of fly down this this beach.
Okay, making a left turn. I'm at 500 feet now.
Yep, we want to stay about 500 feet or so along the beach.
Okay.
Bay Bridge, green gyro, left base, 1 stop and go, Bay Bridge.
I've always thought it was interesting when I started learning about flying that you can keep the tail in the center no matter which direction you're going.
Green gyro, short final, 11, stop and go, Bay Bridge.
Just by using the pedals.
Yes, and that's the whole idea. And this aircraft will fly out of balance, but it's not as efficient. We're just adding a lot of drag if it is not in balance.
We had some boaters come in yesterday afternoon, and they were helicopter pilots.
422, 10 miles west of the field, setting up 445 to the left downwind, 33
and fixed wing pilots, and they wanted a tour about a gyroplane. So I took them to the hangar and showed them. They were at awe. They thought, you know, in their mind they were thinking, you know, old backyard home built, wire and duct tape.
Yep, lawn chair sitting on a boat gas tank.
Departing to the north up to left point, Bay Bridge.
Is it Bendix? Is that?
Benson.
Benson, yeah, Benson. So this isn't your grandfather's Benson.
So you need a little bit of right rudder.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm kind of got the water tower in.
Okay, and we're just going to follow the coastline around.
Okay. Small movement on the stick. Speed's good, altitude's good.
And you'll find that most of the turns, generally if you start to exceed 20 degrees bank or so, and you need to start pulling on the stick to maintain our altitude, because the nose is going to want to drop off if you have a steeper turn. You'll need some rudder.
Okay.
Other than that, I've not found that a lot of rudder input is needed. So in a fixed wing aircraft, it's what's called adverse yaw. Right. So as the aileron drops, it also adds drag and wants to bring the aircraft around. Sends it out of yaw. So that's why rudder is usually required on all, aircraft. On an extreme, like a glider.
Bay Bridge, green gyros on a 2 mile 45, general left downwind, 11 Bay Bridge.
Very long wings, that's even accentuated more in most cases.
Was this feedback in the stick normal?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is more or less. This is within reason.
Okay.
It could use a little bit of a rotor balance, but I'm not upset with it.
Okay, very good. Because I don't know what normal is yet, and so
Yep.
It's like the people who crash landed and never been on an airplane and walked off. That okay, that's how airplanes land.
Bridge, green gyro left downwind, 11 Bay Bridge.
This is a matter of rotor tuning. I tend to like a looser feeling rotor, so there's usually always a little bit of stick shake. If you tighten all the system up, you can dial some of this out, but you also start to lose a little bit of the feedback.
Traffic 73422, 5 miles to the west, setting up 445 to the left downwind 337.
And we're just going to kind of cross over this little point and head over there to where those boats are going in the inlet.
Okay. Yeah, see the boats. I see what you mean about
Bridge, green gyro left base 11 for a stop and go, Bay Bridge.
So, back to stick shake. The important thing is that the body itself is not hopping around.
Right.
That's, in my opinion, that's the important
Bay
part.
Bridge, green gyro, turning short final, 11, stop and go.
I see what you mean about the analog gauges. It's just a glance, and I know exactly. I don't have to analyze the gauge.
Yeah.
I can see, okay, we're above 5 or below 5. It's much easier than I'm actually having to focus and read the glass here.
Yeah, and there is an update for these to have the bigger, the white needle. For what these are your backups.
Right.
You need to pay attention to your screen. And we can set little bugs, little tick marks for altitude and heading.
7422 is 3 miles west of the field on a 45 for the left downwind for 33 traffic.
Local landmarks here. This is a lighthouse. This is Castle Marina. And you can see this is their entry into the marina there with the little jetties coming out. And then if you look around, there's a pond just inside the shoreline. We want to get over to that pond.
Okay, I see the pond.
And from that pond, we'll go directly into the airport.
Bay Bridge, green gyro on left downwind 11 Bay Bridge.
Is the 45-degree entry to the downwind for the pattern.
Okay.
And when we get to that pond, I'm going to take the airplane back over and I'll head in for a landing.
Okay.
Bay Bridge traffic, gray gyro is about 3 miles out to the northeast, and we're going to enter a 45 to a downwind for 11 Bay Bridge.
Bay Bridge, green gyro, 2 and for Alpha Golf on left base at 11 for a full stop, Bay Bridge.
Okay, I've got the airplane now.
Airplane?
I've got it.
So Bob, is it any clearer out to the east?
Not really. I thought it would be clearer on the other side of the Narrows, and it's still low.
Yeah, it's sort of rolling in and out of here too. It's clear south, but I'm afraid to go south and not be able to get back. Gyro short final 11 full stop, Bay Bridge.
So we're entering a 45-degree angle to the airport. And this is the standard entry.
Left turn.
For aircraft.
Okay. So it looks like these cargo ships are just sitting out here waiting for their turn.
Yes. Yeah, they'll sit there and wait until they have a dock space for them in the harbor.
Green gyro 2-1 Alpha Golf is clear, runway 11 Bay Bridge.
So green got off the ground finally.
Bay Bridge traffic, gray gyro is turning into a downwind for runway 11 Bay Bridge.
What do you think about getting a spot, a GPS spot on here?
For your travel, might not be a bad idea. Your wife will keep tabs on you.
She could. I did bring a satellite phone, just because I figure I'll be over areas that may not have service.
Now also there is this thing called ADSB.
Yep.
Which you are on a program called Flight Aware. You can put your N number in and you can track this aircraft. Bay Bridge traffic, gray gyro, base to final runway 11 full stop Bay Bridge.
Float. There we go. Back.
Just kind of getting rid of the energy.
There's no real wind to turn the rotor into, so center.
Yep, that's kind of gotten rid of all of it. So I'm going to push the stick to the front. I'm going to go into brake mode. And I'm going to start to engage the brake.
Okay. Turn the dial down here for brake. It's nice that we have such a small landing space that we needed. You can land further down the runway and not have to taxi as long.
Exactly. Bay Bridge traffic, Gray Gyro, clear of runway 11, Bay Bridge.
I understand on the test I have to make sure all elements of the craft are past the lines to be clear of the
That's correct.
runway. And then what's the overdrive button you're pushing?
I am motoring our rotor around.
Oh, to get
so that it's over top. Yeah, the overdrive, actually, I think it should probably say override. And what it does is it overrides the interlock for the, because if we press the pre-rotator now, there's an interlock on there that prevents it from moving. But if I press that overdrive button,
it'll move.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So in my mind, it was a Google translation of something, and didn't quite get the right syntax or or definition,
right,
or whatever.
Lost something in the translation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when I was in Germany, I was there on a church mission, and I was in an apartment with an older gentleman. It was winter. They had the heater way up. And I said to him in German, "Sind Sie heiß?" which grammatically, I mean, word for word means, "Are you hot?" Well, in German it meant, "Are you in heat?" And the whole family just busted up and laughed. It was a good icebreaker. So I know about losing something in translation.
Okay.
Well, that was, as I've flown in other aircraft, trying to decide what I wanted to buy and own and fly, and trikes and fixed wings and so forth. This is the most relaxing experience. There's none of that edginess I had in other aircraft. This is, I'm aware and alert and, cognizant of what's going on, but it's not an anxious feeling. That's why I love this aircraft.
Right, so one thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to drive it into the hangar. Yeah. I want to stay away from the hangar. So for whatever reason, there is no way that I'm going to be able to touch the hangar with a rotor blade in any case. So I'll stop it out here.
Okay.
What we want to do is we want to turn all the electrics off.
Okay, yep. Strobe is off, pumps two's off.
As soon as I turned off the switch for the communications, that turned off the audio for the headset and to the GoPro camera. So, wonderful first flight. What can you say? It was a great experience. Bob is a wonderful instructor, very calming, soothing voice, very patient, very observant, continually aware of me and how I'm feeling and how I'm doing and learning and so forth. A great instructor. It has taken me several hours to edit this video, primarily because I've been stopping and taking notes through the whole process. I've got a whole 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with notes that I will be taking out to the aircraft here shortly and sitting down and going through that process of pre-flight and so forth, and the checklist that he's doing, just to start building muscle memory. I look forward to many more days flying with Bob, and then start soloing and flying around and start doing some cross country. And speaking of going cross country, if you are between Maryland and Idaho, I'd love to be able to stop by your airport, say hello to you, give you a short flight around town, and get to know you a little bit better. With 194,000 subscribers, I haven't been able to meet most of them. Love to take this opportunity as I go across country to do that. Anyway, this has been a wonderful experience. Stay tuned for more daily updates on how I'm going through the process of getting my private pilot license. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if you are prepared, you shall not fear. Have a great day.